This question is coming from the question paper from 2017 November. It's a question on finance. It's a two-part question. So the 4.1, it focuses on budgeting, the income and expenses statement. And then there's the second part of the question, which is about timelines. Okay, so we're going to be answering this question 4 from 4.1 all the way up to 4.3. All right, so here we are given a situation for 4.1. We are told that the treasurer of the Tandu Pulu Chess Club compared the actual income and the expenses figures against the projected budget figures at the end of the financial year. So let's say maybe it's the beginning of the year. We have budgeted maybe a certain amount. So I'm speaking as if we are part of the committee of this chess club. Okay, so we have a budgeted amount and the actual amounts that are allocated for that year. Okay, so the budgeted amount, it's what we are planning on or planning to spend for that particular year. All right, so the budget, it's outlined on this table. They want us to write down the missing values next to the question number 4.1.1 to 4.1.7 in the answer book. Okay, so we have to fill out, we basically have to fill out the missing values on this table. All right, just as a reminder for you that when you do calculations on the income and expenses statement or the budget statement, is that you need to make use of these formulas, right? So the variance, if you take a look at the last column on the table, the variance is calculated differently between the income part of the statement and the expenses part of the statement. So for the income part of the statement, income variance is calculated as actual amount subtracted by the budgeted amount. Number two, you have the expenses variable, right? The expenses variable, let me get a red marker for this. All right, so for the income part of the statement, you have to calculate variance. The variance is calculated how? This way. Income variance is calculated as actual budget, actual amount minus by subtracted by the budgeted amount. Number two, for the expenses variance, this part of the statement is calculated as budgeted amount minus actual amount. Surplus is total income minus total expenses. So by this, according to the statement, we actually have a deficit in our statement. If it was a surplus, they were going to tell us that this is we now have what? A surplus. But looking at the last phrase or that word on that last row, we can see that we actually have a deficit in our statement. All right, so to calculate the missing values, you can just make use of the following formulas. So for 4.1.1, we can see that the variance is what? It's positive. So, and we are under the income part of the statement. So to get the positive 2,000 rand, we're going to make use of the income variance. We have the variance, it's a positive 2,000. So it's 2,000. We have an income variance of 2,000, which is positive. And then the actual amount, it's not given. I'm going to place an X here. Minus the budgeted amount, which is 6,000. So transpose the 6,000, you're going to get what? A positive 6,000. So 2,000 plus the 6,000, I'm getting an X value that is what? Is 8,000. Is 8,000. So it means that for 4.1.1, I'm going to have a 8,000 as the value that should be calculated. 4.1.2, variance. We're calculating variance in this instance. So how do we calculate variance? Income variance, it's actual minus what? Budgeted. Income. Wait. Actual amount also, it's 10,000 minus 12,300. So let's work this out. So it's 10,000, 1, 2, 3 minus 12,300. So the answer is gonna be minus 2,300. 2,300. So 4.1.3. Again, I'm gonna set up that equation. We have a variance of 900. Remember, we are using this formula, the first one, because we are still having our discussion under the income part of the statement. So 900 is equal to actual amount, it's 62,800,000 minus the budgeted amount, which is what we want. I don't know what it is, so I'm gonna place an X. I'm gonna transpose the X over to the left hand side. It's gonna be a positive. Then I'm gonna bring over the 900. So it's 800 plus minus 900. So what's the answer? 62,800 minus 900. I'm getting a 61,900. So this is our answer for 4.1.3. And then for 4.1.4, okay, now so we're gonna be using the last part, the second formula, expenses variance. So expenses variance is budgeted amount minus the actual amount. So budgeted, it's how much? It's 4,350 minus 5,000. I'm getting a minus 650 here, minus 650 rand. And then what about this one? 4.1.4. So I have expenses variance of 200 equal to budgeted amount. I don't know what it is, so I'm gonna put an X minus 1.7, which is the actual amount. So I'm gonna transpose the 1.7, and then it's a minus 200 plus a 1,700. So I'm getting an X of 1,500 rand. 1,500 rand. So this is the answer for 4.1.5. Let me just hide this, and then let's do 4.1.6. okay, that's an easy mark, that's a giveaway basically. So that's just the zero, no variance. And then we now have 4.1.7. 4.1.7. Okay, so this one, it's in a deficit as well. Let me just point that out. It's in a deficit as well. Okay, so how do we calculate the deficit? It's always this value. What? So we now focus on the third equation. We are doing 4.1.7. So we are doing calculations for the last row, right? So how do you calculate a surplus or a deficit? Since we have a deficit, it's always calculated like this: total income minus total expenses. So how was this value calculated? It's this value subtract this value. It's the total income minus the total expenses, the total of the expenses. Okay, so even here it's this income minus that total for expenses. So it's gonna be 62,800 minus 63,000. Here we go. 62,800 minus 63, 123. Answer is gonna be a minus 200. Or you can just subtract the 2, and then you're gonna get your minus 200 as well. So that is how you deal with this given table. All right, now let's, okay, not this one, this one. Let's take away the formulas and let's do 4.2 and 4.3. 4.2 and 4.3. Okay, so for 4.2, we are given a scenario where Julius, who won a 320,000 rand in the national lottery system, right? He wishes to invest his winnings for 9 years, and then two banks are offering him different rates. So he now has to work out which one is the most effective one. So Bank A offers an interest rate of 7.9% per annum on the simple interest, while Bank B offers an interest rate of 6.8% per annum compounded weekly. Which is the better investment and by how much? So Bank A offers a certain interest rate. Bank B also offers something else, right? So we have to calculate and just weigh our options and find out which one is the best one, the best investment option. So the best investment option should be the one yielding the most interest, okay? And then after finding out which option is the best, we need to calculate, like we have to calculate the interest. How do I say this? How do I put this? We have to calculate. Let's say maybe Bank A. You invest, and then you find that maybe you were investing 1,000 rand, and then after your investment period you end up with a 2,000 rand for Bank A. Then for Bank B, after making this initial investment of 1,000 rand, you are now having a 3,000 rand after your investment period. Now, so it's apparent here that Bank B has the better option because there's more yield in Bank B than in Bank A. So the last question is by how much? By how much is the investment better, right? So we can see that Bank A offers a 2,000 rand investment yield, and then Bank B an investment yield of 3,000 rand, right? So to find out by how much is option B better, we're going to take the 3,000 and subtract the 2,000 from it, and then we can see that option B is better by 1,000 rand, right? By 1,000 rand. Of course, both banks have returns on the investment, but one of the two should yield a better investment. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with this question 4.2. So 4.2, all right, so there's two rates. Bank A offers 7.9% per annum on the simple interest, while Bank B offers an interest rate of 6.8 compounded weekly. Now let's calculate yield for Bank A. So since it's on the simple interest, so it's gonna be A equal to P1 plus I multiplied by N. Okay, so N represents the number of years, I represents the interest rate converted, and then P represents what? The principal amount, and then A, it's the accumulated amount or accrued amount. It's one and the same thing. So what is the principal amount? It's the invested amount, which is the 32,000 rand, 320,000 rand. 1 plus, what is the interest rate? So on Bank A, we are offered a 7.9%. 7.9%. So the I will be calculated like this. I is equal to 7.9 over 100. Over 100. So 7.9 divided by 100, I'm getting a 0.079. So this is what I'm gonna substitute for I. So 0.079 multiplied by, what is n? It's the number of years. It's 9 years. It's invested over 9 years. It's stated in the question. So 3,000, they did 320,000, 1, 2, 3, 1 plus 0.079 multiplied by 9. I am getting 547. This is not 3. 547. 520. 547,520. This is the amount. This is the accumulated amount. After 9 years, this is what I will have in the bank. And then for Bank B option, Bank B offers the following. A accumulated is equal to principal plus I divided by M, which is the compounding period, raised to exponent n multiplied by M. Okay, so Bank B offers what? A compound, an interest rate that is compounded on a weekly basis. So it means that we have what? A compounding period. So if something is compounded weekly, M becomes 52. We have 52 weeks in a year. And then don't forget, N stands for the number of years. And then I, it's the interest rate. And then P, it's the initial investment. Okay, so the initial investment here was 320,000 rand. Open bracket 1 plus I. What is the interest rate? So for the compound interest, we have a 6.8% per annum. So I now becomes what? 0. Let me just calculate it like this. 6.8 over 100 is equal to 6.8 over 100. I'm getting a 0.068. Then that's what I'm going to substitute. It's 0.068 divided by, what's the compounding period? 52. It's weekly. What is n? N is the number of years. How many years? 9. So it's 9 multiplied by M, compounding period, it's 52, equal to, let's calculate, 1, 2, 3, 1 plus 0.068 divide by 52 raised to exponent 9 times 52. So the final answer is this: 589,881.22 in 2 decimal places. Mine is always rounded off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so it's I think it's obvious now that Bank B it's the better option, without any doubt. So Bank B is the better option. You need to write this down after doing the calculation. Is the better option. But by how much? Then that's when you take this value, the bigger amount, and then you subtract it with that one. So you're gonna say it's Bank B is the better option by equal to, let's do this calculation maybe on the side. It's 589,881.22 minus 547,520. So 589,881.22 minus 547,520. This is the answer. It's R42361.22. So Bank B is the better option by 42,361, 42,361.22 cents. This is how you answer 4.2 when we are weighing investment options. This is how you gonna do the calculation. Okay, so 4.3. 4.3 timelines now. Timelines. Okay, so the 4.3 has an overall mark allocation of 8 marks. Okay, all right. So Bill Gates has 1 million rand to invest. He invests the money in a bank for 4 years at an interest rate of 6% per annum compounded monthly. At the end of these 4 years, he withdraws 175,000 rand. The remainder of the investment remains at the bank for a further 42 months at an interest rate of 7% per annum compounded weekly. After these 42 months, Bill then deposits another 200,000 rand into his investment. Bill then extends the period of the investment for a further 2 years when the bank offers him a interest rate of 8% per annum. Okay. This question is loaded, guys. It's very, very loaded. So what I do, more especially when it comes to drawing your timelines, use the scenario above to answer the questions. What you can do, don't read the question once, maybe just 3 times. Read it 3 times or two times. After reading it several times, just now start unpacking what is being said here. Yeah? And what's the better way to do that? It's through a timeline. So for 4.3.1, let's do the following. 4.3.1. Let's draw a timeline for the investment described above. Okay, but before we do that, let's read the question one more time. So Bill Gates has 1 million rand to invest. He invests the money in a bank for 4 years at an interest rate of 6% per annum compounded monthly. At the end of these 4 years, he withdraws 175,000 rand. The remainder of the investment remains at the bank for a further 42 months at an interest rate of 7% per annum compounded weekly. After these 42 months, Bill deposits 200,000 rand into his investment. Bill then extends. Then he says to the bank, you know what? I'm investing a further 200,000 rand, but I want to extend the investment period to a further 2 years. So Bill then does that for a further 2 years when the bank offers him a simple interest rate of 8% per annum. Let's draw. Okay, so here's the timeline. So when you draw your timeline, you always start with a T0. So it's T 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why am I stopping at 9? I'm looking at the following question, 4.3.2. The investment period ends where? At 9.5 years. Okay, 9.5 years. So it makes sense to stop at T9. But just reading the question one more time, you can see that actually the investment period lasts for a period of 9.5 years or 9.5 years. The 42 months should be converted to years. We're going to do that while we insert our values on the timeline. All right, so what happened initially was he invested what? 1 million rand. So that's the investment he's making. 1 million rand investment at T0. At T0. And then it further states that he invests the money in a bank for 4 years at an interest rate of 6% per annum compounded monthly. I draw 6% compounded monthly 4 years. Make sure that you highlight that on your timeline as well. So I have the 6% that is compounded monthly over a 4-year period. So it's also marked out on the timeline. So it's T0, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 years. It's a 4-year period. Okay, then the second part of the question says, at the end of these 4 years, he withdraws a certain amount. It's what? It's 175,000 rand. It's taken out of the account. The remainder of the investment remains at the bank for a further 42 months. So 42 months, guys. 42 months. Let me write here. 42 months. So 42 months. When divided by 12 months should give us the number of years. So 42 divided by 2, I'm getting a 3.5. So the answer is 3.5. So it translates to 3.5 years. Okay, 3.5 years. Let's go back. Now, 42 months translates to what? 3.5 years. And it's exposed to 7% compounded on a weekly basis. So from the T4, I'm going to count 3.5 years. 3.5 years. So this is 3.5 years. Where's this? Okay. It's 3.5 years. So it's 1, 2, 3.5. So that the half should lie somewhere between T7 and T8. That's why the dotted line, the dotted blue line, it's somewhere between T7 and T8. Okay. Now, the last part of the question states that Bill deposits a further 200,000 rand into his investment. Bill then extends the investment period for a further 2 years. So from here, I'm gonna count I'm gonna count a 2-year period from this point here. So I'm gonna say a half, so it's half a year, and then from T8 to T9, that's 1 full year. And then here, this is where I'm gonna stop counting, because that covers what, 2 years. So it's a half year, and the half year gives me 1 full year. And then from T8 to T9, that's 1 full year. So it's 2 years in total. Né? It's 2 years in total. So from here to here, it's half a year. From here to here, it's 1 full year. From here to here, it's another half year. So that's 2 completed years, right? So we start off with a deposit of 200,000 rand, and then I also show on the timeline that we have an 8% simple interest for the remaining 2-year period. We have our timeline. Okay, we have our timeline. If your timeline is off, forget about the following question, right? So maybe you might grab a few marks there and there, maybe for the first few years of the problem, of the given problem, but going forward it's going to give you problems. Just make sure that you have the timeline sorted out before you answer the question on the overall investment. So 4.3.2, calculate the value of Bill's investment after 9.5 years. 9.5 years. Okay, so 4.3.2, we're going to do some calculations here. So we're going to start off with the first 4 years. We're going to start off with the first 4 years. Remember, your investment is cumulative, right? So whenever you make a withdrawal, you are making a withdrawal from the accrued or the accumulated amount, right? And then whatever remains, it gathers interest going to the final stages of the investment. So for the first 4 years, this is how much our money is gonna grow. It's A equal to P 1 plus I divided by M. So it's gonna be exposed to a compound interest, right? So we're gonna use the compound interest formula. So accumulated amount is equal to the principal amount. In this case, it's the invested amount, which is the million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1 plus, what is the interest rate? It's the 6%. I'm taking the 6% and dividing it by 100. 6 divided by 100, I'm getting a 0.06. 0.06 divided by M, it's the compounding period, it's monthly, so we are dividing by 12. What is N? It's the number of years. 4 multiplied by M, which is the compounding period, it's 12. So us changing the 42 months to 3.5 years, it's one of the reasons, and it's one of the reasons as to why we had to change the 42 to 3.5 years. It's because of N, it's not in months, but it's in what? It's in years. So we substitute years, not months. All right, so let's get the answer for that one. 1,123,1 plus 0.06 divided by 12. It's monthly raised to exponent 4 times 12. The final answer is 1,270,489, comma 16. I'm rounding it off to 2 decimal places. We are working with money. We are working with chalete. Ne? So we have to round this off. We have to round this off. Now, for the next 3.5 years, we have to find the accumulated amount for this period. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. At the beginning of the 3.5 years, something happened in the account. What happened? A certain amount was withdrawn from the account, so we have to take away or subtract the 175,000 rand from this accumulated amount. So we're gonna say the new principal amount is now 1,270,489.16 minus 175,123. So the principal amount now becomes 1,270,489.16 minus 175,123. So the final answer here is 1,095,489,16. So this is our answer. Now we are going to perform a calculation, right, using this principal amount. So since it's still in compounded interest rate, we're going to be using this formula. Accumulated is equal to P1 plus I over M raised to exponent N multiplied by M. So what is the principal amount? It's that 1,095,489.16. 1 plus, what is the interest rate? It's 7% this time. So when dividing the 7% by 100, we get a 0.07. What is M? M is the compounding period. It's weekly, so it's 52. Then it's going to be a 3.5 multiplied by 52. Accumulated is equal to, okay, so it's 1,095,489,489.16. 1 plus 0.07 divided by 52 raised to exponent 3.5 times 52. So the answer, it's gonna be a 1,399,389.72. Okay, you are busy doing this calculation. You are busy at the same time you are collecting marks. Ne? At the same time you are collecting marks. You shouldn't skip any calculation here, right? Now for the last or remaining 2 years, the first, okay, let me say last 2 years. For the remaining 2 years, it's gonna be the principal amount, the new principal amount. We're gonna take this and add the 200,000 that is deposited. So it's gonna be 1,399,389.72 plus 200,000. 1, 2, 3. So the principal amount is gonna be 1,399,389.72 plus 200,000. 1, 2. Yes. So this is the new value. It's 1,599,389.72. Now since the final amount is on simple interest, we're gonna be using the simple interest formula. So it's gonna be accumulated P open bracket 1 plus I multiplied by N is equal to, what is the principal amount? It's this value, 1,599,389 1 plus, what is I? The interest rate is 8%, so it's gonna be a 0.08 multiplied by the remaining 2 years, so it's gonna be a 2. Let's get the final answer. 1,599,389. Oh, it's 0.72, 0.72. Let me erase and fix that part. All right. Yeah. Let's fix this part. So it's equal to 1,599,389.72. 1,599,389.72, open bracket 1 plus 0.08 multiplied by 2, close bracket. So the final answer is okay, it's 1,855,292.08. So this is the final answer. This is 5, this is 5. So this is the final answer for our investment. All right, yeah, that was quite a ride. And quite a discussion. Okay, so this concludes our discussion on finance, the question 4. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some value out of this discussion today. Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.